We are here today because Jesse Walker was shot and paralyzed from the waist down. Do you guys know what it feels like to not be able to move? Well, now Jesse knows because he can't move his legs ever again. Because of Tanya Brewster's lack of supervision of a minor and negligent storage of a firearm. After Jesse was shot, Scott told Tanya what happened, and Tanya said she wished she would have never kept the gun out of her house. With Tanya saying this, she knew that the gun was in her house and that it was not stored correctly. Scott and TJ really bonded when Scott went into the military because TJ had an interest in guns. But Scott did not tell TJ about guns and fighting to get his interest in that more. He just told him about the stories the Vietnam vets told him when he was in the military. Dr. Sandy Turner says when a child has been involved in violence, the parents should be on red alert. Tanya should have been on red alert when TJ found the gun because he has a criminal record and could have done anything at any time. But the defense might say that Scott was a bad parent, leaving TJ and Tanya all alone. But he had started a new family with Claudia and had 2 children. The defense might also bring up that Scott buying TJ was the reason why he bought a gun magazine and got into the interest of guns. But the BB gun was just to get Scott and TJ to bond more and to get along better because Tanya was having problems because she thought Scott was not getting into or helping with TJ. In the Johnson versus Moore case, the parent was charged because the child used a dangerous weapon and made dangerous actions with that object. The parents were liable because they failed to prevent the child's actions if the parent knew or should have known tendencies toward dangerous activity. This relates to the case because of Tanya's negligent storage of a dangerous object.
Thank you. Does the defense have an opening statement they would wish to make?
Yes, sir.
All right, you may proceed.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been called here today to hear the case of Scott Walker versus Tanya Brewster. You will hear the plaintiff say that Tanya Brewster is negligent for storage of a firearm and negligent for supervision of her minor child, TJ Walker. And today you will hear that neither of these accusations are true. Tanya Brewster is a mother who has been raising her child all on her own since he was first born. Yet under these circumstances, Tanya Brewster raised her child, went to work, went to school, and started her own business. And even after all of this, she has the time to be concerned with everything that goes on in her son's life. Scott Walker is a father who was never around a lot. He feels that his son forgot that he was his father, but really, he forgot that TJ was his son. It is very hard to be a parent and to know that your child is in trouble. TJ Walker had a problem. He was getting into fights and was obsessed with guns and violence. After his arrest in January of 2015, Ms. Brewster knew that something had to be done. So she got TJ into a diversion program. In this program, TJ meets with a counselor, Bottner, who is a witness here today. She saw that TJ had a problem and wanted to get Mr. Walker involved to help improve TJ's problem. After calling Mr. Walker twice and receiving some rude replies, she decided to send a letter to Mr. Walker, which you will see later today. In this letter, it stated that TJ had a problem and that even though Mr. Walker would not participate in the program, that he should try to do something to help improve TJ's tendencies. Instead of seeing that TJ had a problem, Mr. Walker decided to give yet another rude reply to Ms. Bottner. In the negligent supervision laws, it states, a person may become liable for negligent supervision if they know or have reason to know that the child must be controlled or protected, and they have failed to do so. On the day of the accident, December 4th, 2015, TJ Walker was at Scott Walker's house for a rare visit. At this time, Scott Walker left TJ and his two other minor children alone. He was only supposed to be gone for a little while, but this little while turned into the whole afternoon, and in this afternoon, Jesse Walker was shot by TJ with Carl Newhouse's gun. In the New Columbia Criminal Code 105, Criminal Storage of a Firearm, it states that a person will not be guilty if they store the firearm in a secure, locked container or take other means reasonably designed to ensure that the child of 16 years of age or younger will not come into possession of the firearm. Carl Newhouse had his gun kept in a locked toolbox, and Miss Brewster did everything she could to prevent TJ from getting involved with guns. In 2012, James Scoutcroft was convicted of negligent storage of a firearm after his 5-year-old daughter was shot with his sister's gun. He was found not guilty because under the totality of the circumstances, Scoutcroft took reasonable means to ensure that his daughter would not come into possession of the firearm. The plaintiff will say that Tanya Walker should have known where the gun was being stored, but the gun was not hers, so she did not have to take the firearm safety course. Neither of the accusations brought against Tanya Brewster are true, and I hope that you will see that throughout this trial today. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes opening arguments. We'll now move on to examination of the plaintiff witnesses. The plaintiffs will be calling 3 witnesses forward. First will be Scott Walker. Does the plaintiff wish to call Scott Walker? All right, Scott Walker, please come up to the stand. Face the jury, and please raise your right hand. Scott Walker, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you may take a seat, Scott Walker. Defense, or plaintiff, if you wish, direct examination.
Please state your name to the judge.
Scott Walker.
Scott Walker, do you have any kids? And you have a boy named Jesse, right? Jesse is paralyzed, correct?
Yes.
How do you know? What happened to Jesse?
He was shot by a TJ.
How do you know this?
He told me in detail about what happened that night.
After the accident and Jesse was secured in the hospital, what happened? You talked to Tanya, correct?
Yes.
Now, who is the owner of the gun?
Carl Newhouse.
And where was the gun originally kept?
In a toolbox.
Who has full custody of TJ?
Tanya.
So on a regular basis, you spend about 24 hours with TJ. Do you share a strong bond with him?
I believe I do.
What are TJ's hobbies?
Mainly talking about guns.
Has he ever touched a gun before, prior to the current involvement?
I did buy him a BB gun.
Once you gave him the BB gun, it wasn't very harmful, correct? There was 2 rules that you set up for him. It was that the gun was kept at the house, and that it was only the supervision of Scott Walker, correct? That is all.
Does the defense have any questions for this witness?
Yes. Mr. Walker, before your divorce, when your wife started working again, she asked if you could help out around the house, correct? And slept many fights?
Just a few.
So your wife is taking care of your child, working, taking care of the house, and worrying about paying bills because you spend money faster than you make it. And you start fighting because she asks for some help?
Well, if you put it that way, I guess.
I understand some of your information You missed some child support payments, and while you were in the Army, you only saw your son once for 3 hours on Christmas present.
Yes.
Two simple things that you had to do, and you failed to do both of them. Mr. Walker, your son was put into a diversion program by his mother after he was arrested for being in a fight. You were asked to get involved with this program, correct?
Yes.
You were asked 3 times by TJ's counselor, twice over the phone, and were even sent a letter, correct?
Yes.
By receiving these, you knew that TJ had a problem.
Yes.
On the day of the accident, you were at your friend's house drinking a beer, while TJ and your 2 other minor children were left at home, correct?
Yes.
You were only supposed to be gone for a little while.
Yes, but then that turned into a bit wild.
You decided to leave your 3 minor children home for the whole afternoon, correct?
Yeah.
Mr. Walker, you have reason to believe your son was involved with guns and violence, yet you did not do anything to stop or change them. You ignored the facts, and that resulted in your son Jesse not being able to walk today. No further questions, Your Honor.
Witness may be dismissed. Does the plaintiff wish to call another witness? Say who that witness is. T.J. Walker, please come up to the stand. Face the jury and raise your right hand. T.J. Walker, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may be seated. Plaintiff, you may question your witness.
Please state your name to the court.
TJ Walker.
TJ Walker, where was the gun?
It was in Carl's toolbox. My mother was with me.
How do you know it was in Carl's toolbox?
I was in Tanya's garage working with Carl, and he asked me to get a tool from his toolbox, and in the toolbox was his gun.
Moving on. TJ, how do you get along with your mother, Tanya?
I rarely get to see her much, but we never really get along.
How is your relationship with your mother?
I mean, it's kind of, we argue a lot.
So are you saying that she doesn't trust you very much? If she doesn't trust you very much, why doesn't she trust you very much prior to the incident?
I got arrested, and I was hauled to the police station.
What did your mother do when she found out you were in a fight?
She took me to counseling, and my counselor is terrible.
Have you been honest with Terry Bottner?
Yes, we talked about most of the issues, and the issues between my father and mother.
Do you and Mr. Bottner talk about things at home?
Objection, Your Honor.
Could you restate your question? I'm sustained.
Do you and Mr. Bottner talk about things around home?
Still leading. Could you rephrase your question in a different way that you're not leading to witness, please?
What do you do with Mr. Bottner?
We talk about things that go on with life and my issues with guns and fighting violence.
Have you ever talked about Carl?
Yes, we've talked about Carl and how, we have talked about Carl, and I don't want to bring it up so I don't have to fight with my mom, but he did kind of just move in.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Does the defense have any questions for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Walker, you saw the gun in the toolbox after Carl had told you to get a screwdriver when you asked him about the gun, he told you never to touch it again, did he not?
Yes.
And after that, you still took the gun to school the next day, correct? Carl never found out about the gun, so you took it again to school the day after that, correct?
No.
So you took the gun after Carl told you not to, and you showed it to your friend, and then you held off on like it was yours. And then, did anything, so your mother showed you a gun safety video, and did anything in that make you less interested in owning a gun? So while you were at your father's house, you accidentally shot Jesse in his stomach, which paralyzed him, correct? Okay, so the only way for a gun to fire is with a safety off. And so I actually did some research on the gun and how hard it is to pull the trigger back. The trigger weight for the gun is 13 pounds, so that means you have to pull on the trigger with 13 pounds of force for the gun to fire. And if you cock the gun, you only have to pull it 5 pounds. So that it says if you did cock the gun, then you would be showing a 5-year-old a cocked gun, and if not, then you would have had to be really pulling on the gun. Okay, so let's get to your arrest for getting into a fight in the neighborhood. After getting into a fight, you went to the neighborhood prison, correct? Correct. So after that, you went into the burger. Yes. And so while you were with Terry Bottner, you told her some lies because you just wanted to get out of there. So you told her things that she wanted to get, correct?
No.
In your affidavit, you said that.
I said that I talked to her about the issues because I said to my parents.
Yes, but you said that you also told her that some things that she just wanted to hear. And then is it possible that your father could have influenced you to even borrow to get a gun? Because he took you to shooting ranges. And so, and also your mother worked late at night and had her own business, correct?
Yes.
So if you had left your mother more, you would now take his gun, even after she had never touched the gun. And same thing with Carl. Carl also said never touched the gun. And you still did, correct? No further questions, Your Honor.
Witness may be excused. Does the plaintiff have any other witnesses they wish to call? Who would that be? Dr. Sandy Turner, please face the jury. Raise your right hand. Dr. Turner, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I did.
You may be seated. Plaintiff, you may question your witness.
Can you please state your name for the jury?
Dr. Sandy Turner.
Can you please state your profession?
I am a professor in emergency medicine and public health at New Columbia University.
How long have you been a professor at New Columbia University?
6 years now.
What have you researched at the university over those 6 years?
You may repeat the question.
What have you researched at the university over those 6 years? Did it involve any domestic violence or anything around that subject?
Yes.
Was there anything else regarding that subject in general?
Yes, I helped write the New Columbia Criminal Code 105.
In all your studies on this subject, what is the most effective way to prevent accidents and shootings?
Do not have guns in the home.
Is it okay for most parents to assume that a child will not give the gun and listen to the word?
No, because 88% of gun shooting things are accidental shootings because the child took the gun without the parent knowing.
Is there a way to perceive the child taking the gun?
Yes, if they have any criminal record, things like that.
Has the presence of guns changed over the years for teens?
Yes, teens seem to want to have guns around them at all times. They even show them off to their friends at school.
Do you think Tanya and Carl followed your safe storage of handgun sheet?
No.
I don't think he was suggesting an answer, so you can ask that question again. It is okay.
Do you think Tanya and Carl followed your safe storage of handgun sheet?
No. She said that all adults within the household should know where the gun is kept and what safety measures have been taken to prevent the gun from getting the hands of a minor. And Tanya did not know where the gun was kept.
Based on TJ's habits, do you think it was foreseeable for him to have taken the gun?
Yes, he had a criminal record and had a great interest in guns.
So Jesse being shot was foreseeable by Tanya, so all this could have been avoided. But sadly, what has been done was not stopped, and poor Jesse, a young child, is paralyzed from the waist down for the rest of his life. No further questions, Your Honor.
Does the defense have any questions for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed.
Did you provide the materials for the gun safety course?
Yes.
And now would Carl to take this course to obtain a gun?
Yes.
So he would have known how to safely store a gun?
Yes. But he didn't. He followed it.
No, you only talked to Scott and TJ for 15 minutes.
Yes, but through that information I gathered, I had enough information to know my purpose to play in this case.
And you made assumptions on these talks. But did you ask to hear their side of the story?
I guess not.
Do you know what Tanya did to keep TJ away from guns?
From what I heard, she did nothing.
So you did not know that she took him to counseling?
I didn't know that.
Did TJ and Scott tell you anything good about Tanya and Carl?
I don't think I can say nothing about that.
No further questions?
Witness may be dismissed. At this time, we will take a 3-minute recess before we call the defense witnesses. That'll allow the teams to deliberate a little bit and assess how the trial is going. You may be seated. We have now heard from the 3 defense witnesses, the plaintiff witnesses. We will now move on to the 3 defense witnesses. So does the defense have their first witness here?
Yes, Your Honor. That's the election of
Tanya Brewster, come on up. Stand right here and face the jury. Raise your right hand. Tanya Brewster, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you may take a seat. Any question from witness defense?
Please state your name to the jury. Tanya Brewster. Ms. Brewster, when did you first meet Mr. Walker? We were sophomores in high school. And how were you feeling toward him? It was love at first sight. What changed those feelings? When I became pregnant with TJ, we probably wouldn't have gotten married if I wasn't expecting him. How was your relationship with Mr. Walker after TJ was born? It went downhill from there. We were always getting into fights, and Scott seemed to lose total interest in TJ. That's when we decided it was time for a divorce. How did Mr. Walker feel about the divorce? He didn't care and had no problem with me taking full custody of TJ. What other conditions did you and Mr. Walker make? He had 3. First, he had to pay $250 a month in child support, and he had to visit regularly, and I got full custody of TJ. How often did Mr. Walker visit TJ? Very rarely, especially when he was in time. Very rarely. How well did you pay child support? He was not very well. He missed out a bunch of months. But since I was doing so well, I didn't have time. I didn't go and chase him down. How are you doing so well? I put myself in high school and I started my own business. And how's that going? Very well, but it's very time consuming. How often do you see TJ now that you own your own business? Not as often as I would like. When did Mr. Newhouse first move in with you? About a year and a half ago. So last August. How did TJ feel about this? He didn't seem to mind, but I guess I should ask him. How were things when Mr. Newhouse first moved in? Things were good at first, but Carl brought a gun to him, and I was
not want him to bring the gun into my house because I knew TJ would have a suspicion and temptation to go get the gun.
What changed your mind about keeping the gun?
Carl said we needed it for protection because we were in a high crime rate neighborhood, and also he had taken a safety course and showed me the materials.
In the Gun Public Safety Handbook, it states under the special notes for parents section that all adults in the house must know exactly where the gun's at and what measures have been taken to childproof the gun. Did you know these things?
I never took the course, but I trusted Carl to secure the gun.
So you never took the class because you do not own a gun.
Correct.
When did you first notice that TJ had an obsession with guns and violence?
Probably when he got into a fight at school.
Was this the first fight that happened?
No, but this one was the first one in the neighborhood, and everyone had to be brought down to the station.
The station? How did you react to the arrest?
I went straight down to the youth officer.
And what did he tell you?
He told me first-time offenders like TJ usually get into a diversion program. But he told me since TJ didn't have any weapons involved, that they were just going to release him. I told him though that I wanted him in the diversion program.
Please explain the diversion program to us.
It's a counseling system where TJ and I would go once a month and we would talk to Terry Bottner about certain items like guns, violence, and drugs, and how to avoid them.
How well does TJ participate in this program?
He opens his mouth a lot more than he does at home. I also learned how hard it is to be a teenager and how to stay away from hobbies.
Did Mr. Walker ever get involved with the diversion program?
Dr. Terry Bottner invited him multiple times, but Scott has refused to come.
He refused to come? What was his reaction to the arrest in the diversion program?
He treated it as if they were nothing.
He treated them like they were nothing. Is there anything else that you did to try to prevent TJ from getting involved with guns and violence?
We did watch a Canon documentary, but TJ seemed to miss the point.
Where was TJ on December 4th, 2015?
He was at Scott's house for a rare visit.
He was at Mr. Newhouse, or at Mr. Wason's house. And what happened?
Scott called me saying that TJ was brought down to the city for questioning, and that Scott was trying to blame the whole thing on me. And I knew at once that I shouldn't have let Carl bring that gun into my house. I think I said something like that to him.
And what happened next?
I went down to the station and found that Carl had TJ had used Carl's gun. I was immediately mad at both of them. One at Carl because he should have locked it in a more secure place, and second at TJ. He was 13, almost 14. He should have known better.
How do you feel about everything that has happened?
I feel terrible for the loss of Scott Walker because Jesse was only 5 and now he's going to be paralyzed for the rest of his life.
Thank you, Ms. Brewster. No further questions, Your Honor.
Does the plaintiff have any questions for this witness? All right, you may proceed with your questions.
Tanya, is it true that you denied PG of a DV on the first birthday because it might cause injury?
Yes.
Is it true that you caught TJ reading a gun magazine? Is it true that you live in a neighborhood that has recently been under the influence of crime? When Carl moved in, he brought a gun along with him, correct?
Yes.
You had full knowledge of who the gun was at all times, correct?
No.
Could I ask the plaintiff to speak up a little more?
Yet you still keep the gun in your own home. Did you read the article entitled Safe Storage of Handguns?
I never took the class.
Did you know where the gun was stored?
No, Carl was the one responsible and he took the class, so I trusted him to walk with them.
Is it true that TJ has been involved with 3 violent incidents, not including this one?
I couldn't say that violent.
One of those times has had a gun involved, right?
Could you clarify? Do you mean like he was the one with the gun or others had the gun?
No, a gun was involved. Not simply he had a gun.
Yes.
Is it true that you and TJ took diversion sessions?
Yes.
During there was multiple times in which guns were mentioned about TJ's school, correct?
Yep.
At this time, did you still not know where the gun was and how it was stored?
I did not ask Carl. I trusted him.
In the negligent supervision statutes, it states a legal guardian can be guilty if he or she has reason to suspect that a child has to be controlled or protected and not failed to do so. You knew that TJ had a keen interest in guns at this time, correct?
Yes, you're trying to get some.
Since TJ was not allowed to go through belongings, I felt you knew that in TJ's school there was guns, right? So TJ gave you a reason to suspect that he was going to take out the gun, and multiple ways for you to figure this out, but you failed to control it. Now regarding the negligent storage of the firearm, you failed to know where the gun was at all times. You failed to correctly lock and store the gun, and carry out the gun altogether, even though you were reminded almost weekly. No further questions, Charlie.
Witness is dismissed. The defense have another witness they wish to call. What is the name of that witness? Okay, Carl Newhouse, please approach the stand. Face the jury and raise your right hand. Carl Newhouse, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may take a seat.
Please state your name to the jury.
Carl Newhouse.
Okay, Mr. Newhouse, let's talk about your girlfriend. Who is your girlfriend?
Tanya Brewster.
And how long have you known her?
For around 2 years now.
When did you decide to leave her?
In August 2015.
After dating and moving in with Tanya, how did TJ feel about you moving?
I guess I never really asked him, but I guess he didn't really seem to mind me.
Now, let's talk about the girl that you have pushing in the house. Why did you, okay.
Well, because I was told that, like, I got robbed and someone held a gun to my head, and well, the other one took all my valuables, and I didn't want that to happen again, so I got that.
That sounds terrible. Okay, what classes did you take for this gun that you own?
I took the gun safe storage class and the license, like the class to get the license.
Why did Tanya get mad when you brought the gun into the house?
She didn't really want to get a hold of it and start like hurting people with it. Yes.
When Tanya told you no, that you couldn't bring the gun into the house, what did you tell her?
I told like the same story of how I got robbed and how I didn't want that to happen again and how we would stay with this gun.
How did TJ find the gun?
I had asked him to go get a screwdriver and then he found it.
What did you say to TJ after he found the gun?
I told him to go put it back and never touch it again, and he didn't.
Now, Mr. Newhouse, did you keep the gun loaded or
I kept it unloaded.
and why did you keep the gun loaded?
Once again, I didn't want to get robbed again, so
Where did you store the loaded gun?
I stored it in the toolbox.
Was the toolbox locked or locked?
It was locked normally, but sometimes when we're doing long-term projects, I give it up. So it was unlocked sometimes.
What safety measures had you put in place so that the gun would not be fired?
I didn't really put any on it because I thought that I wasn't my gun, and when TJ found it, I thought that he would listen to me and not take it again.
Why did you feel like that toolbox or was I supposed to put the gun?
TJ was not allowed to go through my belongings, and that I felt like it was a safe place to store it.
And why did you not tell Tanya that TJ had gotten a gun when you asked him to get us weekend?
Once again, I thought that TJ was listening to me, and that I felt no need for telling Tanya about it.
Thank you, Carl. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Does the plaintiff wish to question this witness? Yes. All right, you may proceed with your questions.
You moved into Tanya's house in August of 2015, correct?
Yes.
Tanya was not able to use TJ a lot because she had to work, correct?
Yes.
When you moved into Tanya's home, you brought your Beretta 9mm with you for protection.
Yes.
You like to keep it loaded in case of robbery that you experienced in the past, correct?
Yes.
You keep the gun loaded. Did you ever think about TJ's criminal record when you kept the gun loaded?
No.
You took the gun safety course and gave Terry Bottner a paper about safe storage of handguns, correct?
Yes.
So if you did take the course and they told you about safe storage of a handgun, you still store it in the toolbox that can easily be accessed when you had the toolbox locked at the time TJ found the gun.
I did not have it locked, but I normally did have it locked.
You thought that the toolbox was a safe place to store the gun, correct?
Yes.
You thought it was a safe place to store the gun. But TJ has a criminal record, and Tanya was worried about the gun going into the house because of that, correct?
Yes, but TJ was not allowed to use my belongings, so I felt it was a safe place.
When you moved in, and you and Tanya got into a huge fight about the gun, correct?
Yes.
When you got into this fight, you tried to get her to forget about the gun by not mentioning the gun, correct?
I didn't try to make her forget about it, but yes.
When TJ found the gun, you just told him not to touch it, and never told Tanya about the gun because you didn't want her to get mad at you, correct?
Not because I didn't want her to get mad at me, but because I thought that TJ would listen to me.
It says in your affidavit that you did not want her to get mad at you, that's why you went up.
Yes, but also TJ is not allowed to listen to my belongings.
But he's a criminal record, and Tanya knew that also when you brought the gun into the home. You made Tanya all worried because TJ could get a hold of the gun at any moment. No further questions.
Witness may be dismissed. I believe the defense has one final witness to call. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, who are you calling to the stand?
Terry Bottner.
Terry Bottner. Oh, now you're here. Face the jury and raise your right hand. Terry Bottner, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may take a seat. Does the defense have any questions for your witness? Okay, you may proceed with your questions.
Please state your name for the jury.
Terry Bottner.
Terry, what do you do for a living?
I am a counselor for a juvenile high school of Newhouse.
And how long have you done this job?
About 4 years.
What did you do before you were a counselor? In your sessions, what did you talk about?
We talked about the dangers of sex, drugs, and guns.
What was your reaction to these kids?
Some of the kids scared me.
What did you ask some kids after hours in school?
After some of the kids, I asked them if they wanted to hang out and play basketball in the gym.
What do you do to get progress results while not in sessions? What do you do to get progress results while you're not in session with the parents and kids? What do you do to get the progress results while not in sessions with the parents or kids? How do these sessions usually go?
The sessions go very well with these kids.
In sessions, what does TJ talk about?
TJ usually talks about the dangers of the drugs and stuff that he's used already.
Now, how did TJ get the gun?
He got it from the house in the box.
Did you know that Carl had a gun?
No.
What would you have said if you did know?
If I knew, I would have told them to get the gun out of the house.
How did you try to get Scott involved?
I called him 2 times and sent him a letter.
And how did Scott react?
It seemed like he didn't care at all.
And from what perspective would you say Tanya was involved in TJ's life?
Like, out of 90% of the parents, she was from Adam, most of the parents, she was 90% involved with TJ's life.
No further questions.
Plaintiff, have any questions for this witness? All right, you may ask your question.
Please state your name to the jury.
Very Bottner.
Terry Bottner, you are TJ's counselor, correct?
Yes.
TJ has had some problems in the past, mostly involving fights, correct?
Yes.
I also want to confirm, Tanya never told you about Carl and the gun he held in the garage, correct?
I guess.
You know that Tanya doesn't like guns, nevertheless she doesn't even like BB guns, correct?
I guess you can say that.
Tanya has also mentioned that she lived in a dangerous neighborhood, correct?
Yes.
TJ has complained that Tanya was never around much, correct?
Yeah.
You know that TJ has a very special love for guns also, correct?
Yes.
And TJ and his dad share a mutual love for them and the army.
Yes.
You also know that Scott got TJ a BB gun.
Yes.
You know the role Scott plays for TJ then, correct?
Yes.
You also know then Tanya took the gun away because she didn't trust TJ or Scott.
No.
Sustain your question.
Bringing up Carl again, you didn't know anything about how she brought a gun into her home, even though TJ had a serious love for guns, and was only a young 13-year-old at the time, correct?
Yes.
Then, by reading the stipulated facts, and just by being here, you know that TJ got a hold of the gun that Tanya brought into her home, of course, correct?
Yes.
So Tanya brought a gun into her home even though she had a stressful relationship with Dennis. No more questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Witness may be seated. That concludes the witness portion of this trial. We may now move on to closing arguments. Does the plaintiff have a closing argument for the jury? All right, you may proceed. Face the jury.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we are here today because 5-year-old Jesse Walker was shot. As a result of this, he will be permanently paralyzed from the waist down. Because of this unfortunate event, Jesse's family will have to suffer not only a financial loss, but an emotional one. He will not be able to provide for his family when he is older, and few understand the true pain of not being able to move. This horrible tragedy occurred because Tanya Brewster let a Beretta 9mm semi-automatic pistol into her home. This gun got in the hands of 14-year-old T.J. Wasson, and this gun shot Jesse. If Tanya had not let this gun into her home, none of this would have happened. Everything that happened, Tanya should have foreseen, seeing as T.J. had a criminal record and was obsessed with guns. This obsession would have been a red flag for most parents, but not for Tanya, who let a gun into her home with little to no fight. This gun was unprotected and in the reach of the 14-year-old T.J. Walker, who took the gun and ended up shooting the 5-year-old Jesse Walker. All this evidence points to one conclusion, that Tanya let a gun into her house, and now Jesse is permanently paralyzed. Tanya should be charged for this serious and tragic loss.
Does the defense have a closing argument they wish to say? All right, you may proceed.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we have heard two sides of the case today. You have heard that Tanya Brewster should be sued for negligent supervision of the child and negligent storage of the gun. Although as we dug deeper into this case, we were able to show the lies from the truth. Today we learned that Scott Walker is one responsible for negligent supervision of the child, not Tanya Brewster. Tanya did everything she could to prevent TJ from getting the gun. What did Scott do? He simply did nothing, like he has done since day one. He has completely given up on raising TJ. He gave up on TJ and left Tanya to raise him all by herself. Tanya Brewster has done an excellent job at raising TJ. She was always there for TJ when she needed him. When TJ got into a fight at school and was brought down to the police station, she was there for him. She even took care of TJ. By caring for him, she took him to counseling to help sort out his problems. Then they would meet once a month and discuss with Terry Bottner about various values, like violence, drugs, and how to avoid them. Terry felt that they were making great progress, but for the well-being of TJ, he insisted that Scott came to the sessions. He invited Scott 3 times, but Scott refused to come. He treated the events and counseling as if they were nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, why should Tanya have to pay $1.5 million for Scott from his parents? She wasn't even there to watch TJ. TJ was at Scott's house. Scott should have been responsible for watching his kids. Instead, he left them alone the whole afternoon while he was out drinking. If anyone should become guilty, it should be Scott. And he should have watched his own children. Tanya has done her part in helping the TJ kid. Scott should have done his part and has failed to do so. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I know that you will not make a mistake today. The information is laid out so you can see that Scott Walker is guilty of negligent supervision of the child. We have heard all the lawyers and have read all the affidavits. Now you must decide for yourself. We have heard that all that we have, and I know that you will not make a mistake in deciding who is innocent and who is guilty.
The plaintiff, if they wish, may rebuttal anything that was addressed by the defense. Only that. You may not bring up anything at once. Do you have anything you wish to rebuttal, plaintiff? Okay, you may go forward and rebuttal.
The defense mentioned that Tanya was there for TJ all the time. That Tanya was not always there for TJ. She was often at work with her, meaning she was not able to watch TJ. and thus led to him taking the gun. She also mentioned that Scott left them alone for half the afternoon. This leaving was not intentional. He meant to go over there for about a minute just to grab the girl he had left him. And because of the distractions within the household, the one minute turned into half an hour.
All right, that concludes the closing arguments. Does the plaintiff rest?
Yes.
Okay. Does the defense rest? We may not. So we only want to address what you said. All right. We will now begin with the jury instructions. Jury, you may now move to your room and discuss the actions. You see what the damages are in your bulletin. You can also see what the applicable laws are as well. We'll come back when you are ready for your decision. You may also choose the foreperson to announce that decision too. Please rise for the jury. And we'll stay risen for the jury as they announce their verdict. Jury foreperson. All right. What is your verdict?
We, the jury, find in favor of the plaintiff. Well, it's
Scott Walker. He's the plaintiff?
yeah.
Okay.
As for damages incurred, we think, or it is our finding that the plaintiff will receive $42,000 for all medical expenses to date, and we believe that both parties are at fault. We will go at a 50-50 rate. We do not believe that the medical expenses for future should be as much as they stipulated, so we are going to split that 50-50 for 13 years until the child is 18 years of age, so they will get $97,500. That will go into a trust